This week on Not Sauce for Work, Terry Tam continues his longest fuck vacation. Duke, the bar graph, is on, while Eagle is with me in the studio. We talk about Nick Saban and his huge deal, and what does this mean during the NIL era? KD is staying in Brooklyn, and meaty straws are in. We also run a race to figure out our fantasy order. All of this and much more on this episode of Not Sauce for Work on the Hot Sauce Sports Podcast Network. Welcome. You are listening to it, perhaps watching Not Sauce Work on the Hot Sauce Sports Podcast Network.
You were so good the first time.
You suck. Eagle, I got my read right on one take for the first time in human history.
It's true.
I got my read right, but then I just forgot which show and podcast network I work for. I am Pizzo Rees. Duke, of course, joining me like I said so.
What's up, y'all?
How's it going, Duke?
Not bad. I'm trying to move the mic so that you don't see my super scratched door in the back. I have to figure out a better system here.
We can't see the scratches from here, man.
It's so bad.
Your camera's not that good, bro.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. It's been a long time. I'm not dead, I promise. I feel like I should be on these more because I listen to you guys, and it's great. You guys always sound great, but you need a little bit more dumbness.
That's true.
To this,
I've often been told that. Told that.
I just made up a word. It works. Let's go with it.
Absolutely. The word
is it a word, Eeks?
I mean, it can be. You can say anything.
It's true. You can.
I love it. My biggest supporter.
Proof of that is 70 million people voted for an ex-president who could barely speak English. That said, I have an issue.
We were talking about Biden?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I woke up the other day. I was watering my plants, and there was like a little chill in the air and a little bit of dew on the grass, and the air smelled like fucking football.
Yes.
I'm so happy. It's getting there, Duke. Like I don't do the Hard Knocks thing, but I will say when I know Hard Knocks is on and it gets to be a little bit crisp in the air, there is that feeling that okay, fantasy draft season's coming, football season's around the corner.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I've become so fucking desperate for football that I've been closely following baseball this year, and I caught myself watching a 12-inning Angels game 2 nights ago or last night. You see, that's it. I can't even remember what day it is. And I was watching. It was like 12:30 at night, and I'm just watching this 12-inning baseball game, and it's just going nowhere. And in my head, I'm like, I would rather be asleep on the couch with the Jets playing against the Jaguars than watching the goddamn Angels. But I just need something, man. I need something. I can't get into EPL anymore. I can't catch EPL. I don't know. If there was bowling, I'd watch it, So I need something.
I mean, with a couple of bucks, you can spare the Angels from Artie Moreno, and it can all be yours. But if you don't have a couple billion to spare, I feel you, because at one point this summer, I was watching Reds Marlins.
No. Who was pitching? Do you remember? At least if Sandy was pitching, I would understand.
I know it was Pablo. It was Pablo Lopez. So like,
that's pretty good.
It's okay, but I'm watching. It's a game with no consequence. It's like I always talk shit about a lot of the more recent Marvel Star Wars shows that no one ever dies and there's no consequence. That's what it's like watching the Reds and the Marlins. There's no consequence to this game. It doesn't matter.
I will say, though, that the Reds have sucked ever since they had the most racist owner in sports, not Donald Sterling, but the second most racist owner in sports. And ever since she's been gone, like they just haven't been as good. So I don't know what they need, but bring in another racist owner.
Mount Rushmore worst owners. I have four. I have all four.
Marge Shoot has to be there.
Marge Shoot is absolutely on there. Donald Sterling's on there. The ex-Saints owner that helped cover up the church's pedophilia.
Okay.
And of course, Jeffrey Loria.
I'm looking up ex-Saints owner pedophilia, and I hope I don't get. Wow. I hope I don't get arrested.
The NSA is coming immediately.
Tom Benson.
It was his wife, I believe, it was involved with the church. But yeah, they legitimately helped cover up pedophilia for the Catholic Church. But I'm not about that. I'm going to talk about ass of a different sort. I'm excited for football season. I'm also really worried because I played a staff flag football game where I didn't wear cleats because I normally only play quarterback. And we're kind of all just changing positions. And I fell on my ass like 3 times because it was on grass and I didn't have cleats. And I'm no joke. Eagle, I'm not joking here. I think I fractured my tailbone. I haven't been able to sit for longer than 40 minutes since that staff game.
That sounds hilarious.
I've injured my tailbone, and I'll tell you one thing: if it's fractured, you would for sure know, man. You would know. Can you sleep? Are you able to lie down?
No, well, I've been able to sleep like more than 3 hours a night. Like
It's fractured, bro.
All right.
Also, there's really nothing you can do. There's really nothing you can do.
But that's the thing. I looked it up. It's like, well, that's just your life now.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, you can't wrap your ass.
I don't want to get too graphic, but how's the shitting? I don't even know how to make it better.
Here's this other thing. So, like, Duke, you're a De La Rocca. You go to the bathroom 5 times a day, right?
Well, no. I've started drinking Metamucil 3 times a day, and now I'm only pooing. I think it's 3. I would say 2.5. 2.5 because one of them doesn't really count. It's usually a couple pebbles, and I'm like, this is just the end, you know.
Okay, so
I try not to push.
I guess I'm a 4 pooper, but 2 are half poops. So 3 are serious, 2 are halves. But so I wake up in the morning and I go every morning before I shower, before I go to work. I go to the washroom. I'm super regular. I woke up every day since I hurt myself, and I'm fearing going to take a shit. Like I'm trying to figure out, like, is squatting better?
No. You know what you do? You take your hands like this. Okay. While I'm checking the camera.
Explain it for the audio. For the audio audience. Oh, you got to open up your ass.
You're basically reaching below your ass cheeks, and you're spreading them open, preferably with a couple of fingers holding the hole open to expand the geographical surface of your asshole, so that it's just a smoother transition. Eeks, is that an actual thing?
Let's go with yes? Question mark?
You want to call your brother the doctor again?
Hey,
yes.
That's the best way to take a shit.
Yeah. So yeah, you give yourself a Jack reach around. I like it, although you do sound like you were the former owner of the Saints. That said, it's time. We have a lot to get to. It's time for the news.
Eeks, where's the music?
It's playing. It's just you're on fucking Facebook and you don't hear it. God damn it.
God, I miss it.
Terry is the news.
Hi, I'm Terry. I don't know anything. I fucking like the Mets. Fuck off.
I love the Mets too. It's almost like the Expos. It's just as much heartbreak, but with more money.
Guy, it's the B version of the Yankees. We all know that, and I hate the Yankees, so I'm not a Yankees.
Well, but to be fair, as former Expos fans, they were B versions of baseball, and we still love them. So, Nick Saban signs an 8-year, $93.6 million deal, and Duke, this is breaking news. Still no money to pay the players though.
I thought that was happening. What's happening with NIL?
Well, yeah, they're getting NIL because any human can get money from any company. That's always been allowed, except the NCAA decided to disallow it for 100 years. But the universities are still not paying players, right? Like, they're paying coaches $93.6 million.
No. But they get their money in the form of education.
Yeah, 100%.
And NFL draft prospecting, obviously.
I get it. So what we can do is we can pay Saban in history classes and prospecting.
Yes.
So
correct.
Here's my thing about this. Okay, so I read it. Saban's 70 years old. This contract's probably going to take him to the deathbed. Hopefully not knocking on wood. This is not actual wood, but I'm knocking on it.
Because, like, by all accounts, as much as, like, I have, like, issues with the college coaching system, as much as Nick Saban was a failure in Miami, he doesn't seem to be, like, a murderer. Like, he doesn't seem to be an awful person. So, like, we don't wish ill will.
I never said I wish ill will for sure. And I love Nick Saban. I kind of thought it was a bit sleazy when he came out trying to, like, call out other coaches, which... You know, and meanwhile, like, come on, like, Alabama, we can say what we want about them being this holier than thou kind of program, but the fact is, it's Alabama, and they probably had to do some under the table dealing to get players there. But that being said, look, The fact is, he is the greatest NCAA coach. I'm talking about an all of NCAA coach. So
Mike Krzyzewski
obviously
would like
he's
a
always
word.
gonna, yeah.
Mike Krzyzewski would like a word.
Yeah, well, I mean, if
Roy
you measure up
Williams.
both resumes, you can measure up both resumes, but I do believe that it's a lot tougher to coach a football team.
Yeah, how many times has Saban won gold for Team America?
Listen, man.
Look, it's not my fault.
The only America that exists is on a 100-yard field. That's the only America that exists. Everything else is secondary. But going back to that, so $93.6 million. I wonder. When I look at that price, I think I ask myself and I ask you guys, do you think that price is because he's basically saying, look, we're not going to be able to beat NIL. I'm going to do my best to get the highest possible contract now, because if we start to falter, if I won't be able to put up the same results, I might as well ask for it as much as possible right now.
Look, you got to get your money while you can, right? So like the worst part is I don't even have an issue with college coaches being paid a lot. I have an issue when they preach about players not being paid when they sign $93 million contracts, right? So like if I'm Nick Saban, get all that money, eat all those oatmeal and cream cookies you can while you can get them, because they're delicious.
That's the best thing ever. And honestly, I wasn't a big fan of Nick Saban before. Then when I heard about the oatmeal cookie thing, and it's the cream cookies, I finally had Plattsburgh. That's my depression food. That's when I'm really fucking depressed, and I just want to throw myself off a bridge. There's a Joe Louis that's always waiting. There's a passion flick. Yeah, that's a Delaware passion flick. And a Twinkies. Fuck that. Forget about Twinkies.
What about caramel?
There you go. So that's all I got to say. He's the boss, man. Ever since then, he's the boss.
Should we be worried about Nick Saban's mental health? Because you're saying it's depression food, and he eats it every morning. Should he just
right? Yeah. Well, I mean, listen. One man's trash is another man's treasure.
Yes. That's a good way to put it. So this got me thinking about something. It relates to a disagreement Terry and I have had on this podcast. So I was kind of curious to have
one of a million, by the way.
That's the show. That's what we do. That's the whole thing, right? That's the construct.
Yeah.
But I was curious about what. So we've seen Live Golf and how that's impacted the PGA, right? And where basically Saudi is like, listen, here's a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Figure this out, right? The same thing is kind of happening with college football, where there's these huge TV deals in place, and now there's the NIL deals. Will we get to a point where the SEC decides, you know what, we don't need the NCAA. The SEC is going to be its own league, and we're in like the third year or fourth year of a player. But like, well, you could go to the NFL and be a third or fourth round draft pick. But also you can sign a 5-year deal to keep playing for Alabama, where it's not associated to the college. It just becomes a private institution completely, where the greed is just completely upfront. This is just a business. The SEC is competition to the NFL. The Pac-10 is competition to the SEC. All these fractured football leagues sort of become they turn pageantry into the absolute business plan.
Right. So when I think about that, and I've heard you guys talk about it in the past, I look at it this way: Live Golf or golf in general, those massive contracts went to commodity names. Players that chose to join Live, there's a certain stature and there's a certain audience that's brought in by them. I can't see I can't see people. I can't see institutions paying like players like $20 million, $30 million to a certain quarterback to play in a different league.
It's like, sorry to interrupt, Duke, but like, what about, for example, like Tim Tebow? If you can get him playing in the state of Florida for 10 years, or Bryce Young, if you can keep him, like, okay, like these are guys who are first round picks, but like guys who are like marginal in a sense where like maybe they have like Tim Tebow's a good example where we all knew Tim Tebow didn't really have a successful NFL career ahead of him.
No, he was a college star.
But one of the greatest college quarterbacks we've ever seen, right? So like, why wouldn't that that person want to make $5, $6, $7, $10 million a year playing in the state of Florida where he's a hero for the next 10 years?
Because the agent needs to make bank and says you can play in the NFL and have a big career.
But the agent, but won't the agent make the evaluation of like 4 years in the NFL versus 10 years playing in the SEC, and then negotiate this is what it's going to be worth for you to get Tim Tebow to play in the SEC versus the NFL?
Yeah, but then you get quarterbacks that are playing in the NCAA. Well, not NCAA, college football. NCAA they're like 35 years old.
Yeah, but that's the thing is the NCAA as a college concept won't exist in 10 years.
Right. No, I don't think you're totally crazy, by the way. I do think that it's possible that a lot of professional leagues are looking at what's happening with Live Golf. And I mean, who wouldn't look at that and say, my God, if the only way that the PGA was able to change their traditional ways was through dirty Saudi money.
Yeah. If my name is Janet
looking
Oil,
at that, yeah.
If my name is Janet Oil and I come over from Saudi Arabia and I say, I'm going to give $3 billion to buy Ohio State, and I'm going to funnel $100 million a year into Ohio State. Listen,
there's a lot of things that happened in the past couple of years. Murder hornets, COVID, the U.S. voting for a complete senile old man, and a lot of other things. Two of them in a row. But I will say that nothing surprised me more than the most traditional organization now we know, sports organization, the PGA, managed to change their traditional ways because of dirty Saudi oil.
Well, and I don't know. MLB wants a word with you right there.
MLB would like a word.
Hey, I gotta say, we're going off topic, but I don't know if you guys have seen. I don't know if you guys have seen the. So now in the MLB, when you go into extra innings, they put a runner on second base to speed up the extra innings. I will tell you, after watching a useless Angels game until midnight, it does nothing to change the goddamn game because that game just kept going and going, even with people at second base.
This is also coming from the league who, when they instituted instant replay for the first time, it was only to see if home runs were foul balls, where there's literally a fucking line going all the way up the goddamn field. It's not that hard.
And that technology exists in tennis and soccer already.
Yeah,
the literal technology already exists. But this is the point where Terry and I usually have the greatest disagreement, Duke, is the next sport where I see, after college football, the next sport I see being vulnerable to a giant influx of money is UFC. Like UFC right now is the top of the world when it comes to fight sports. But like at one point, won't someone just say, well, I'm going to throw all this money at the fighters and they'll come to me instead of UFC?
Well, first of all, one thing I'll say about that is that UFC fighters are basically meat puppets. You can replace them all the time. They never have it unless it's Conor McGregor or Ronda Rousey. I mean, there's so many of these fighters that we don't even know or we watch.
Isn't that the case? But isn't the case for golf also? Because golf, I feel like the course is the star more than the golfer.
No,
other than Tiger Woods.
I'll tell you something that golf fans and tennis fans, they tend to follow certain players. Like when Nick Kyrgios is playing, I'm watching. It's the only time I watch. If Nadal's playing, I watch. If Federer's playing, I watch. Everybody else I don't care about. Even the Canadian athletes that CBC and TSN likes to prop up like they're the next big thing when they're not. I could care less about them. But when it comes to golf also. Well, but I will say golf is a little bit different because you're right. The course is really the star. But when Tiger Woods is when he's up, you're going to be paying attention to that. But UFC, these people are so replaceable.
But I feel like golf is close to UFC. So the difference of golf is that the careers are longer. But I feel like there's only ever 4 or 5 names that matter in golf the same way there's 4 or 5 names that matter in UFC at a certain time, right?
But what would you do exactly? You would bring in a couple of you would pay a lot of money for a UFC fighter that might only be around for another 5 years because he gets his brains beaten.
It doesn't matter because you host the next 3 Conor McGregor events, and while it might not draw the hardcore UFC fans, it draws the casuals, which is the greater percentage of the fandom. It is random people that just want to see a big name on the screen.
That being said, when you think about it, though, McGregor,
sorry,
exactly. No, you're right in that sense. I will agree. However, I just think that the problem with UFC too is because these fights you never really know what happens. There's so much flux in these fights. Like you'll have a guy like McGregor who's at the top of his game, who gets just who goes through this kind of like he just starts losing match after match after match. And I wonder, and maybe I'm wrong, does that have anything to do with the viewership? Do people start to lose interest in a fighter like McGregor?
Maybe the was the worst thing to happen to his brand him being disassembled by Floyd Mayweather. Because Floyd Mayweather undressed him, man. Like he didn't get hit at all.
Murder Hornets, McGregor fought Mayweather. Jesus Christ! There's so many things that happened in the last 2 years I can't even keep track.
Saudi golf, yeah. You could just we could just keep compiling a list. And like when the aliens come, we can't even explain them. Murder Hornets, Saudi golf, monkeypox. It's pretty weird.
I will say though that you do bring up a good point. Like if there's any sport that would be affected by live golf, by the effect of live golf, it would be UFC.
You've seen college football to me. You've seen college football to me are the prime issues.
They're prime, absolutely, because there's a market deficiency there, and there's people that are not being paid. There's an overwhelming support for these athletes that are not being paid properly. Like one of the biggest things about live golf, which I love, is that these golfers don't have to spend every single goddamn weekend on a useless golf course, getting paid barely anything. Like I understand that a lot of it is dirty Saudi money, and I have an issue with the overall concept of live golf. But I won't look at an athlete that's like, okay, he's got to spend the entire year away from his family, and then he's offered like $50 million to go and play for less courses, have more time for himself and for his family. I will never say no to that. Babe, go get your money.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, so on average, the UFC pays 18% of its revenue to fighters, where the NBA, for example, where we know this on the show, I'm the biggest proponent of the NBA. Players get 51% of the revenue. That's huge.
Yes.
We watch for the players, right? So, like, to me, it makes sense the players make more money than the owners because I don't care about the owners.
Do you think this? Yeah, I'm sorry, Peace. I didn't want to cut you off. But
I had a sweet transition there, but it's okay.
It's
going to be awesome. All the pressure. Go for
it. But when you think about all this, right? Like, so look at the NFL. There's plenty of players that do not make as much money, and you see all of these other leagues that try to compete and they just don't make it. So you look at XFL. Do you think XFL would have the same kind of effect as live golf on the NFL?
I think the SEC has a better chance because you're competing for NFL players. You're competing for maybe not the first round picks, but second, third, fourth rounders that they're shown by their agents. Look, you can play 3.5 years in the NFL, or live football is giving you live SEC is giving you 5 years guaranteed. Which one you take?
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
That's what's gonna be tough. Like obviously, like the top maybe 42 picks will choose the NFL because their futures are pretty much guaranteed. But after that, man, the NFL careers are short. The amount of pro athletes who need to work for the rest of their life after playing is the vast majority. It's the
absolutely.
Vast majority.
And there's so many amazing quarterbacks that play in the NCAA that don't make it to the CFL or the NFL. Yeah. And I always wonder what happened to them because they had incredible careers, but they played for Fresno State. They played for Toledo. They played for Hawaii, and they just didn't really make a career. And I wonder, and it's a good point. Like those guys, you offer them, hey, you can come and play in this other league, and you can extend your career and extend your earnings.
For sure.
And it comes with a fan base too, a fan base that's following those specific
players. Passionate. Like I can tell you, in Athens, Georgia, nobody cares about the Falcons. They care about the Bulldogs. But anyway, I had a great transition lined up. So since it's lost, I'm just gonna say basketball. KD and through a joint statement between KD's The Boardroom and the Brooklyn Nets, they have announced that Joe Tsai and Steve Nash and Kevin Durant are going to move forward with their partnership at Brooklyn. I think it's just buying time till they get the right deal. I find it interesting that the boardroom's logo was on there. And one last point, and I'll let you dig your claws in this, Duke. After the season, we saw Kyrie Irving talk about how him, KD, Josiah, they were going to make decisions about the team, and remarkably left off this whole process was Kyrie Irving.
Yep. Okay, so can I start roasting?
Go.
Okay, number one, the boardroom logo is stupid.
Yeah, it's trash.
Stupid logo.
It's
It's just a basic font that's like tilted to look cool. You're not cool.
Bro. It's italics.
You're not cool. And what you're trying to represent? What the fact that you're going to have like you're representing the fact that you're taking over NBA ownership. That's stupid. Also, KD is stupid too. Jeez. I'm tired of him. Yeah, no, he's not. He's actually not. I do appreciate watching KD.
And if he gets traded to the Knicks tomorrow, what do you think about KD?
I would love him. I'd buy his jersey. I would buy a Knicks cap, man. I'd be all over it. But right now, you're playing for the Nets, a useless organization. You're basically the Mets, and you rhyme with them too.
Wait. You don't think the Knicks are the Mets? You don't think the Knicks are the Mets?
No.
I think the Mets. I think New York basketball is the Mets.
Guy, if you go to New York right now and you ask people who they root for, they'll all be angry about it, but they're all going to say that they root for the Knicks.
But you're describing going to Queens and asking about the Mets.
No, man. Everybody in New York, they love the Knicks. The Nets. This is just a little fling. It's a little thing right now. And honestly, I loved watching them just fail last year. They took on Kyrie Irving, who was a giant drama queen. They took on KD, who I love KD, but man, like without Steph Curry, has done nothing whatsoever.
He's the most gifted scorer in the history of the NBA.
No, he's not.
He won.
If you're so gifted, why do you only have one championship with Steph Curry? Two. Okay, I'll count one. I count one.
Who is the MVP of both championships?
You know what? It doesn't really matter.
MVP of both championships is Kevin Durant. I'm not a KD fan. I do love the guy. Don't get me wrong. And if he played for my team, I'd be ecstatic. But I just think that what they built last year was extremely toxic. Oh, yeah.
And on top of that, you traded away pieces to bring in Ben Simmons, one of the biggest crybabies in the NBA. The team that they built together was awful. And when I saw that press release, all I thought to myself was, is this really if you're really committed to success, you cannot build a team around. I'm not even including KD. You cannot build a team around Kyrie and Ben Simmons. And you know what? I'm glad that they didn't put Kyrie's logo in there. And he should go. There's no reason to hold on to KD at this Kyrie at this point.
The thing is, if they actually play basketball, that's a big if. I get that.
Yeah.
Well, again, not for KD gets weird flack for not playing. He didn't miss that many games this year, and the only time he missed was torn Achilles. Like,
he's been very reliable. He's been very reliable. He has had he had
a horrible injury. And the main reason he left Golden State, by the way, is he was mishandled by their medical staff, who has a history of rushing guys back too early.
Or maybe he just didn't get enough attention, and he got butthurt over Draymond Green's comments.
He played out his contract, and him and KD are boys. He was at Draymond's wedding, smoking blunts. Like, we saw that.
That is true. Yeah, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
So, but like, here's the thing: Kyrie, Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant, Seth Curry, Patty Mills, T.J. Warren. They added Royce O'Neal too. That team's nice, man. Like, if they all play, that's a good team.
But it's the biggest if ever, though. You're asking. You're like, I mean, I would love to see them play together. Sorry, can you just give me a second? I pressed the space bar and now there's music playing in the background, and I've been playing like 1950s music all day, nice. So it's awkward. Okay, it's off. So obviously, yeah. When you look at all those pieces together, it's great. But you're trying to bake a cake right now, and you're missing ingredients. And one of the ingredients is
It's better than the Lakers thinking to play an NBA 2K because LeBron didn't get PS5 yet. Like, they just added Pat Bev, who's just another dude who doesn't get along with people who is past his prime.
I'll actually disagree a little bit on that, and not 100%. I do think there's some truth to what you said, but there's something about Pat Bev, man. When you watch him on the court, man, there's something psychological that he does to his opponents. It's kind of like watching.
Who shoots in that team?
Hey, listen, they didn't add him for shooting, but they added him for.
Did they add Russ for shooting? Did they add Anthony Davis for shooting? Anthony Davis is like career 36% 3-point shooter. Like LeBron is your best shooter and your best ball handler. Okay, now
bring back Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, honestly, at that point you might as well, because what you're just doing random shit anyway.
I don't think the trade was a bad idea though, because listen, is it Tristan Horton Tucker? I never know. I never know his. I never know his. Yeah, Taylor Horton Tucker. We just call him THT. THT last year, it was a complete embarrassment for the Lakers. I mean, he was awful.
Well, but he was set up for failure too.
But also the thing too about him is this is why it's a good trade both ways, because he's 23 years old. Like, he's super young. He had a really nice season the season before, and I just think that when you play with Russ, when Russ is the main guy that's facilitating the ball.
But he's not. But that's the problem. So the problem is that Russ is not facilitating the ball. LeBron has to.
Yeah, right. No, I'm sorry. That's what I meant to say, is that not facilitating the ball. What his lack of facilitation is the reason why other players can't really progress. And we saw that with Russ when he was playing in OKC. We saw that when he was playing in Houston. We saw every single stop that Russ plays. He always needs the ball in his hands, for better or worse. And when he takes a billion shots a game, other players can't get into a flow. They can't get into a groove. And when I look at the trade, the biggest, and I knew that this was going to happen, because they committed to Russ in the offseason. And when they commit to Russ, then guys like Taylor Horton Tucker have to go. So they brought in Beverly, which, by the way, the chemistry between Russ and Beverly is going to be the most beautiful drama for the rest of the season. I cannot wait to see how that works out. And in LA too, man. Damn. It's too bad those games are too goddamn late.
I still watch them. But so I have a hot take. And I'm not like the incendiary take dude, but I have a hot take. Russ Westbrook. He's not quite as talented, although close. He is what Allen Iverson would be today.
Relax.
Into the NBA. Look, I loved AI. AI was my favorite player growing up. I wore wristbands because of AI. I had the Reebok The Answers. They were awesome. I loved AI, but he wasn't an efficient player, and the game has completely changed. It's not what the game was, and Russ Westbrook is just playing 10 years too late.
No, I'll agree with. I think that you just slandered Allen Iverson, and I'll never.
I felt bad saying it.
But that being said, I will agree that he is playing a version of basketball that's just extinct now. Like, when we watched that team play last year, like, they would lose these games, and sometimes they would get blown out by teams that, like, they'd get blown out by Charlotte a couple of games. I'm like, what the fuck's happening here? But then when you're watching them play, when you're watching them progress him, it's like he's holding onto the ball too much. He's breaking shots. He's not passing. He's not maintaining a flow. And that's the thing. That's the thing that bothers me about it. But that being said, maybe bringing in a guy like Beverly, they might be bringing in the one guy that can be a motherfucker to him, and to actually call him out. Because the thing is, they don't like each other. Like, Beverly is responsible for one of Russell Westbrook's worst injuries. So they do not like each other, and they will not like each other throughout the season. But maybe the trade was done on for a specific reason. It was to put a guy in place to say the things that LeBron and Anthony Davis might not want to tell him.
I guess.
So it could be a poison pill for him to demand a trade or get out of town or something, and then they can say, we committed to him, but he wanted to leave.
I don't know. That shit looks like a red wedding to me. Like,
guys, I'm not asking you to think, but you should try.
I've never tried thinking. I will not start today. Quickly before we move on, because so the next two stories, by the way, are 100% for you because I love you.
Yeah, man. I know you do.
Donovan Mitchell still in the market. He's going to the Knicks, right?
It doesn't look like it anymore. I flip flop with this, man, and you should see my search tabs. It's like 90% of it is Donovan Mitchell Knicks. Like, the problem right now with the biggest holdup is that I don't. First of all, it looks like they want RJ Barrett in exchange.
Yeah,
and
you have to give up something, right? Like,
and they also want the Knicks to remove the protections on the picks.
But let me. Okay, fine. Honestly, the picks don't mean as much as they do. Like, because people evaluate picks like it's the NFL. Like, it doesn't matter.
No, does not matter.
Because if you get Donovan Mitchell, you're not going to be a lottery team anyway. So who cares?
No, and that's the thing too. Like I would get excited because it would give me something to watch. Yeah. I just don't think the team is built to facilitate a player of his caliber. And I just don't the team is not built for him right now.
But fine. But whatever. Like, do the Pat Riley thing, get the whale, and then find the other pieces later. I'm not saying it's gonna be successful first year, but like get him, and that's gonna help you attract talent. And so right now you have what your next stars are
Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, Randall, and potentially Mitchell,
and Mitchell and Cam Reddish, right? So
Cam Reddish, my God, don't get me started.
Would you rather RJ Barrett with that group, or would you rather Donovan Mitchell with that group?
I actually I really do like I really do like RJ Barrett. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, he's okay.
If he was to be tossed into a trade for Donovan Mitchell, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Tomorrow.
I still like Mitchell Robinson, and I do like the fact that they brought in Isaiah Hardenstein from the Clippers. I think he's nice, and he's a player that we don't know much about. He didn't play all that much, but he has a lot of he's got a lot of potential.
When he was on the court, he was really good.
The one thing is, it just sucks that they're stuck with Evan Fournier. For
that contract. You need like
it's a horrible contract, man.
You give up all the picks and RJ Barrett, and you say like, I'll only do this if you take Evan Fournier.
No one wants him.
Get that 18 mil off the books.
Like I don't even know. I know he was great for the French national team, but like aside from that, man, like I don't know.
Yeah, but in the NBA, he's a C+ player max.
It's crazy. It's a bit of a weird roster construction. Like, I don't know. It's like, I mean, and the other thing too is that they were banking on Julius Randle putting up the same kind of numbers that he did the year before, and it was not the case. Like, he was one of the least effective. He was one of the least effective power forwards in the league last year. And Derrick Rose was kind of a nice piece, but I mean, listen, you can't bank on him.
Yeah,
you can't. So
the thing that drove me. This is where I started turning on Twitter. Was when Twitter tried to tell me that Julius Randle was Chris Bosh. Relax.
No. Come on.
Chris Bosh is one of the tops.
It's because they forget, man. They forgot.
Power forwards of all time. Like, come on. Yeah.
They forgot who the real OG was, man. You know. But that's sorry. Yeah, and I mean, I could go on forever about the Knicks, but I will say one last thing.
We'll get you another topic. No, go ahead. What's your last thing?
I will say though that one of the main reasons why they want to bring in Donovan Mitchell is because look, you always want to find a way to like Madison Square Garden is always going to be full. They're always going to fill seats, but you can feel there's a big dissatisfaction with the construction of the roster last year because they went from being this potentially they saw a lot of potential the year before in 2020. And we went into the 2021 season and it was just the complete opposite. Everything failed. Tibbs just mismanaged the roster, mismanaged these players, which I mean we all could kind of expect. So then, as a fan base, you're looking at that and you think to yourself, what do we have to look forward for the future? And I know this is not always about fans, because especially for a franchise that always sells out their games. The fact is that the general feeling is that they're trying to establish some star power. And by having Brunson and Mitchell together, their idea is that they will be able to draw in other players to play with them.
Breaking news. Actual breaking news this time.
Nice.
Jovan Bua of The Athletic has just reported that the Lakers tend to make Russell Westbrook inactive for the season. So they're trying to force him to accept a trade, basically.
Yeah, guys?
Holy shit, that's huge.
That conspiracy was real. I told you. They brought him back for a reason, man. He does not want to play with Russ.
We can't get rid of Russ. What do? Bring in the guy he hates the most in the world.
To force him out, man.
Quickly before we
I was right, is what you're saying. I know nothing, and yet I was right.
I grabbed my phone, and as you were talking, I was like, okay, let me set up the next topic. And I was like, oh shit, that's happening now? Okay, cool. It's funny.
It's okay. They committed to him, though.
We once in a while break news on this show, but it's not a live show, so you'll know already when you hear this. But The other thing I want to bring up is a sound clip went viral this week. I'm confused about it, but I'll let it play and we'll get your thoughts on it. This is Dana White talking about the possibility of Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady going to the Las Vegas Raiders in their first season in Las Vegas.
It's still there. You would have
You
signed
would have
again.
been. You would have been. So
I would have been.
I'm the one. I worked to put that deal together for Brady and Gronk to come to the Raiders, and it was almost a done deal. And at the last minute, Gruden blew the deal up and said that he didn't want him. And all hell broke loose, man. It was crazy. And Brady was already looking at houses, and it wasn't being said yet that Gronk was coming. So Las Vegas would have had Brady and Gronk the year that the Bucs won the Super Bowl, except Gruden blew the deal up. And there's so much story that goes along with this behind the scenes. And I was never going to tell that story till Gronk just said it.
So fucking greasy looking.
Yeah.
And Dana,
Let me tell you what,
that is
Brady
Put the
was
steak
not
on his
happy.
fucking
You
forehead,
just told
man.
the story.
Yeah, they're all laughing. Look at them. They laugh at whatever Dana says, man.
Fake laughter, fake laughter.
Listen, I don't disagree with what he's saying. I think that there's some truth and lie to it. Like there's some real and some false to it. Like I you know what? I always thought that Brady was talking about Ryan Tannehill when he said you chose this motherfucker over me.
So
but after hearing that, I'm starting to realize that that's what it was.
We reported here that it was Carr and Las Vegas Raiders. Like there was reporting done about this like a year ago. I don't know. Eagle, we talked about this on the show, right? Like,
Yep.
I'm not imagining this.
Nope.
No,
So-
we did.
Between this and the Dolphins thing, like we've been on this pretty well from the beginning.
This is why you should be listening to us and not actual mainstream media.
I'm just saying, like not about everything. Like we have some dumb
Stop
takes.
listening to CNN, man. Listen to us.
We have some dumb takes about shit, but like when we do actual reporting, like it's solid. Like I'm not gonna say something unless I know it to be true. And I was like, people were saying that it was about Ryan Fitzpatrick, and no, that wasn't the case with Ryan Fitzpatrick because the Dolphins had just drafted Tua. So the concern was never that Ryan Fitzpatrick was going to be the quarterback of the future for the Dolphins. The other thing about this, though,
Sorry.
Dana White.
Wrong camera.
Dana White, get over yourself.
Yeah, sorry guys. I unplugged my thing by mistake.
I'm
One sec. Yeah.
I don't know about you, Duke, but I'm out on Dana White. He was so cool when UFC started. Now he's just a cheesy old guy. He makes everything about himself. Way to make another thing about yourself. I'm done. I find him boring as fuck. His trash talk is just a greasy old man who thinks he's still a bully. Like I can't do it.
Yeah, I definitely. It's so weird. I just changed camera again. I'm gonna fix this. I promise.
That's your camera.
I'm new at this. Yeah. So no, like he's definitely greasy. I'm not a fan of just leaking out personal information like that. I can't imagine Brady being okay with having this personal information just kind of thrown out there. You know, and that's the thing about Dana that I never liked. Like he has no problem. He has no quarrels with releasing personal information about people, things that they don't want anyone to know. Like even like
Ariel
listen,
Helwani, for example.
And a lot of us are not fans of John Gruden per se, but even for him too, like you're putting him in a really awkward position. Like okay, so Gruden was in a weird situation where he had to decide between potentially a franchise quarterback that has given everything to that franchise, taken pay cuts and done everything, and then in the moment had to choose him over a 43-year-old quarterback at the time. Which I mean, at that time, come on, before he landed with the Bucs, everybody was kind of saying, I don't know, man, is he kind of burnt out? Is he old? Like, and then he won that Super Bowl and kind of put all of our questions, aside. But I don't know, it's just really greasy.
You say that, but his hairline is better than both of ours combined.
No, that's for sure.
Like
100%.
he still looks younger than me, and he's several years older than me.
Listen, we're just gonna have to take some steroids. That's all it is.
It's the only way. Steroids and hair plugs. The one thing I want to ask you, Eagle, is he had this issue and he didn't follow what Dana White suggested. You know, Dana White, important name to remember here. And he didn't want Gronk and Brady. And you wonder, what was John Gruden's problem, considering that nobody in this situation was black?
Probably that Brady didn't want to run the Spider 2Y banana package that he would want.
Yeah.
Probably the fact that Gruden's character wasn't going to jive with him. Like, imagine this. If you've spent your entire career dealing with Bill Belichick as your head coach, and then at this point in time, you don't have Bruce Arians, right? It hasn't happened yet.
Right.
And you're going to go to John Gruden, the exact opposite of Bill Belichick. Like, I don't know.
Less intelligent, more of a hard ass. It's the worst. It's the worst situation, you know.
Yeah, far more racist. Also, is the other thing.
But the thing that bothers me about this whole situation is that there's no other perspective to it. Like Mark Davis came out and said that he doesn't know anything about it, which we all know is bullshit at this point.
Yeah,
because what else would he say? Yeah. And then also, like, Derek Carr is coming on saying he has no idea and he's just focusing on the season. I mean, Derek Carr only shows personality when there's a Bible in his hands. You know, that's the only thing. And when it comes to Brady, I mean, he hasn't really said anything about it. So, you know, again, Dana White is one of the greasiest humans in existence. He put all of this information out there without even thinking for a second that, you know, none of the people that were involved even want to talk about this anymore. You know, I mean, also, who's to say that maybe the salary cap implications didn't work? Who's to say that Brady was considering living in Vegas? Maybe he wanted to live in Florida. Who knows?
He was considering living in Vegas, but he did buy that mansion next to Mar-a-Lago.
And that's the thing too. He's saying, oh, he was shopping for houses in Vegas. Like, you're just like, okay, someone as rich.
Brady is friends with Gruden behind the scenes, wanted to get a really big paycheck with his new contract, put it out there that he wanted to go to Vegas, fully knowing he didn't actually want to go to Vegas, just so he got a bigger deal from the Buccaneers, and then Gruden pulls out last minute, knowing that this is part of the setup and everything, and gets a paycheck, and that's why Goodell chased him out of the league.
Wow.
But also, are we all just forgetting the fact that the Dolphins were willing to give ownership stake? Yeah, something that the Raiders were not willing to do.
We're not forgetting. We're not forgetting because literally reported on Hot Sauce Sports first.
Right.
Was that story?
No, but I mean, it's a global we. I mean, and everybody in general, like, we're talking about this story as if we're just taking Dana White's word, which he's a liar. He lies about everything all the time. And also, these rich people are shopping for homes all over the world. They buy houses everywhere. Just because he's looking for a house in Las Vegas doesn't mean he's going to live there. Maybe, you know, he's just testing the market. He's probably shopping for houses there. He's shopping for houses in
house so she can fuck guys in.
Jeez.
Wow. No one said that except for you, man.
Also that. Maybe he needs a place to burn avocados or tomatoes or whatever he doesn't eat anymore.
But I would say, can I just say one thing? I do not think that that he made the best possible decision to go to Tampa, because it was a way better situation for him to land in. He won a Super Bowl with Tampa because it was a team that was better constructed, better coach, and if he would have landed with the Raiders, he would have never won a Super Bowl.
For sure. Let's get to determining the order of the Hot Sauce Sports Fantasy Draft. We're likely going to do live stream, but because I have other commitments, I won't be on it. But hopefully, Duke, Alex the intern. I'm sorry, bro. I gotta win money. I'm gambling, man. Like, I need to make money. My bigger league is drafting that night, so I won't be on live stream. But hopefully, Duke and Terry and Alex the intern will be on there. Let's get the draft order done. It's going to be in the form of a horse race.
Yeah, I don't really understand how we found this site and everything, but Alex the intern was responsible for this, so we're just going to
let's do it.
See what happens, essentially. We get to watch the replay because it's already been done, by the way, which is hilarious.
All right. So he cheated.
Correct.
All right,
I don't want first play.
It doesn't matter because Alex the intern cheated and he fixed it, so he got himself the draft position that he wanted. And these people are running. It's not a horse race. It's a people race.
This dude is running way faster than you in real life.
I know. I would be so far behind. I would be sitting in the end zone, except lying on my side because I have a broken ass.
Okay, Terry's guys are running fast, but in natural Terry fashion, he's gonna tear an ACL on the way.
Oh, there it is. Oh, it came close. No, he almost tore an ACL.
Gonna say Terry Pease and Eagle being the fastest guys on this field is not realistic.
It's just so unrealistic.
Not realistic at all.
What's happening with Brent's dude? Like, he looks like he is running at like slow motion.
Yo, you know what they say? slow locomotions are the ones that win the rail yard.
What?
Oh my God. Is my guy all the way at the bottom of the screen?
Yeah, you're a little bit cut off. Not gonna lie.
I love it. It's half a body. It's disjointed just like the rest of my life.
Half a body, full effort.
I'm good with not being first, by the way. I find
love
having
being
the first pick in
Here we
fantasy.
Here we go. I'm catching on Terry. I'm catching. Oh no, he's gonna.
My guy died. Give me Jonathan Taylor all day. It's all good. Give me first if you don't want it.
Yeah,
Oh,
100%.
It's close. Hold on. Oh, Alex the intern was a last-minute rush here at the end.
Let me guess. Alex the intern.
Terry.
Oh my
No,
God.
he's second. Eagles third.
No, yeah,
Okay.
that's not me. That's Alex the intern. I'm third.
Yeah, that's the same. Eagles third.
Sean will be
Sean-
action apiece. Last-minute rush here.
There we go.
Fourth. There we go. Duke, you're gonna try and get fifth here, but I think Sean's gonna beat you. Yep. Is Antonio?
Well, how
gonna
the
beat
fuck
you
did
too?
I lose
Yep.
fifth spot?
You finished.
But I was in the end zone before the rest of them.
It's not important. All we know is Alex the
Okay, it's
intern
all good.
cheated.
Clearly.
Looks
You
like
very
I'll have to
cheated.
draft a receiver again.
Yo, Cooper Cup would be great, man, if you get it. Yeah.
My luck, he's gonna get injured again.
Yeah, it's clear to me that given that we got to see the replay, Alex Intern cheated
It has to be, right? There's no other explanation.
because he got himself the second pick. Hey, he's still gonna lose. It doesn't matter. Am I not? I'm back-to-back champions in this league, right? So he's gonna lose anyway.
Nice.
Been foretold. Let's get to rapid fire, Eagle.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to have, I didn't even count how many we have this week.
5.
5. Okay. Cool. Let's start with the first one here then while we're at it. Let's go into, I got to get it on full screen here. Riggs, I'm too old for this shit. It seems as though Twitter has infected the minds of even our youngest as rigged culture has made its way into the Little League World Series.
Love it.
Was off the field, or at least making a move to leave the field, but with the walk, it brings up Brady and Rudolph as the tying run.
Whoever's pitching is for ESPN, so come back. That's just for ESPN.
Hey, nothing we can do about that strike call, okay? There's 2 outs, Danny bag, okay?
I mean, that was a ball, guys. Like, let's be serious now. Like that was a ball. Like there was no reason to argue. The kid has something out with ESPN probably because his dad's a fan of Fox Sports, you know, and probably watches Fox News all the time. But he's like, "These goddamn liberals want to take Brittany Griner out of Russia," you know. Like, come on now.
Yeah, like today he was wearing a green hat, but you know that kid normally wears a red hat, right?
Exactly.
But like they sell the advertising in advance of the game. If anything, overtime cost them money because they need to run free ads that wasn't paid for. Just saying.
100%.
Just understand the industry. Yo, I would say this. 12-year-old kid, I know you're a phenom pitcher, but you ain't shit at understanding media. Get better, bruh. Get better.
Yeah, I know, definitely.
All right, our next story for today. Triple Crown. Winning the Triple Crown is considered a prestigious honor unless you are traveling back from Spain. From Spain as an Italian man who is testing positive for COVID-19, monkeypox, and HIV. All
Why
three of the
did you add Italian man?
Because he is an Italian man.
But he's also just
that was a filthy prostitute. That was a filthy prostitute.
So the first thing I thought of, because monkeypox is starting to be treated by politicians like HIV was in the early days. Like it's a disease that it's predominantly affecting gay men. It doesn't mean straight people can't catch it. It's just at the moment it's predominantly affecting gay men. And so it feels like they're just hopping on this to like further their own agendas to divide people and so on. But then as someone who was just in Barcelona and then taking a side trip to the beautiful beach town of Stijez, which is apparently the gay party capital of Europe, I have to say this dude was in from Spain, 1,000% he was in Steeges because that shit was hopping if you're a gay dude. It was awesome.
I mean, if you think that's bad, you should see how the French media is covering monkeypox. It's
I know.
shameful.
Europe keeps reminding us how they invented hate.
Yeah, 100%. Check out this filter.
Oh,
What's up, Kenny?
Every top we're getting a new one. Great. And you're not even
congratulations.
all that smart. Next,
Jeez.
NBA second overall pick Chet Holmgren is injured and will miss the entire NBA season for the Oklahoma City Thunder, according to Shams Charania. I can't
Oh
pronounce
God,
it
you
properly.
massacred that name. Dude.
Charania.
I had to get one of them wrong today.
Christ.
Thoughts? Question mark.
When I saw Chet Holmgren's body, I thought he wasn't ready for the NBA because he looked like the trees in Lord of the Rings, and those trees didn't have any legs. So I honestly think a season off and just getting ready to rebuild your body would be good for Chet. The turnover for first round picks for the NBA is like they go from the tournament to like playing summer league to playing in tournaments to playing the NBA. It's a grind, so it's no kidding. A lot of these guys get hurt coming in, and Chet's body didn't look like it would hold up, so not surprised.
Yeah, I had a feeling this kind of thing would happen. Just his build coming into season, I just knew. Like it's, I'm with you on this. Like I was not surprised when I read the story, but it does suck because the dude has so many tools in his belt, and I really think that he's going to be an incredible player in the NBA. Just that he needs to be able to bulk up, but it's tough. Like those kind of injuries, like they're just hard to predict, you know.
Yeah, dude's an ant.
And they play so much in college too. Like their body goes through such a grind before.
Then again, like they go through summer league, they go through like these tournaments. By the way, Eagle, we gotta do whatever we can to get hot sauce credentials for summer league in Vegas.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, like the four of us could do some damage in Vegas in the summer.
All right, next. She's had 700 beers. Tennis fan accused of being drunk and belligerent by Nick Kyrgios has filed a lawsuit for defamation, claiming she didn't actually have 700 beers and that
Yeah.
and that she was like basically harassed from him and all the media and everything after the fact because of that statement and everything. So I don't know. She might actually win, considering if she can prove she didn't have them. And
So the standard of defamation in the UK is actually very low compared to the US. You just need to prove that your life was different after the claim versus the US. It needs to prove like financial harm, like you lost job opportunities or it cost you a job or you lost the ability to gain monetarily. So she actually probably will win. I don't think it'll go to court. I think she'll get a settlement. Kyrgios will pay it off. I don't know. Saying some chick was drunk off 700 beers sounds like a lot of fun. So I don't blame the Kyrgios. I probably would have done the same thing. I probably got sued.
The only thing I have to say about this is that was the first tennis match that I watched in like 5 years. So whatever, pay the fee. I don't care.
Yeah.
I love the guy. Yeah. He's the only reason why I watch these days. I mean, I'm even missing out on like Nadal and Federer these days. When I see him, I want to watch.
Dude, if you're a beer sponsor, which beer sponsor should pay the settlement for Nick Kyrgios?
700 beers. It's got to be light. Probably go Coors, man. Coors Light.
Right, Coors Light.
Because I could drink 700 of them and still not feel drunk.
You got to see when the mountains are blue and when Nick Kyrgios is burning hot.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. And last story for today, Straw Man. A man went viral when he used a hot dog as a straw to help him sip his beer, as seen on our Twitter. As I load this up, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on our social media.
Yeah, I think that's the weirdest part is that he puts his straw in at first and then he sucks out the hot dog.
You have to make the hole.
Yeah, you got to make the hole, but then he sucked out like the hot dog straw, like the hot dog piercing. Now he takes a little sip out of it first. I will say though that I don't think this is all that terrible. I do think that it's going to add a little bit of saltiness to a beer. I'm sure that it's draft beer. It's probably Bud Light, especially if it's at the Yankees. It's probably a $12-13 beer.
$86.
Yes, and that hot dog's probably also $12. So the whole thing. I mean, listen, if you're going to spend $24, and that's quick math for you guys. I think I got it right. Sure. If you're going to spend $24 on a beer and a hot dog, just drink out of it, man. You know.
like you're gonna have beer and hot dog anyway. It's going the same hole. I don't hate it. The internet's saying
That's
it's fake and like it was contrived. Yeah, who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. The hot dog eating contest is also planned in advance. It's all right. Like the dude, he made like, why were apple bongs such a craze in the 90s, right? Like because it's awesome. Because you get to smoke weed in an apple. Like you get to drink beer in a hot dog. It sounds awesome to me. I don't know why you're freaked out by poking a hole through the sausage. Like, how else are you gonna make the straw?
Yeah, the whole thing about it being fake. I mean, people on Twitter are gonna watch the end of the world and they're gonna be tweeting in their death and like, oh, as the world's on fire, they're gonna be on Twitter saying fake.
Yeah.
You know, so
There'll be a climate change rigged.
exactly.
And that's
Anyway.
our show for this week, boys and girls.
Cool, man.
That was awesome. Like I like that, Duke. You and I kind of went off the rails a little bit, and we still stayed within our target for time. That's
I don't
the
even.
weirdest
I,
filter you've ever
I don't
had.
even know what.
I can't look at you. You would be the grossest goth of all time.
Yeah, wait.
Something about the
I'm gross in
blood.
general, right?
That's better.
I'm gross in general.
That's
Isn't that
much
the one
better.
where if like you open your mouth, you turn yellow, Super Saiyan mode or something?
Open your mouth.
Exactly.
Open your mouth, Duke.
No, I guess not. Yeah, you just look weird.
Yeah, you look like a cat with blue hair. Duke, thanks for joining me, man. This was fun.
Yeah,
We should
man.
do this more often.
Well, we'll do it in studio next week, man. I'll be there.
Agreed. Eagle, thank you for all the production work you've done today, as well as rebuilding the studio. I want to thank all of the beers that fueled me throughout the day. Mostly, I wanted to thank the people who have liked, who have subscribed, who have rated, reviewed, who have followed us, who followed us home, who have kicked out of my house, who have had arrested, who have insisted or insulting me, who people I've made up have followed me home and had them arrested for no good reason other than I'm a bit of an anarchist. I want to thank all you people, but more than anything else, I want to thank you all for letting me be myself. You've been listening to Hot Sauce Sports. You look pretty with the butterflies.